Chicago founder stories here at 1871, Chicago's new digital startup hub. This is a great, exciting, fun thing to do. Those of you who read TechCrunch, you may have, this is inspired by Chris Dixon's founder stories, except we're doing it live, a chance for Chicago tech scene to get together and hear some of our most successful entrepreneurs talk about their story, everything, the good, the bad, and how they got here. Since we're sold out here at 1871, we're recording it so people who couldn't make it can get a chance to see it. And of course, the best part is we have pizza via Grub Hub and Gino's East and beers. And welcome to Matt Maloney and Mike Evans, founders of Grub Hub. Thanks for being here today, guys.
Thanks, Pat.
So for those who don't know Grub Hub, what's the basic value prop? Like why do people come to Grub Hub and why do restaurants come to Grub Hub?
So for those that don't know, GrubHub is the #1 food ordering service, online or mobile, in the U.S. And so what we really do is we connect hungry diners with restaurants that want more business. And to be honest, every restaurant wants more business, and so it's a pretty easy proposition on that side. There's a ton of demand. And on the diner side, everyone is hungry 3 times a day and wants easy all the time. So it kind of works from both ways.
That's great. And you guys have grown incredibly. I mean, you're one of the great, exciting consumer tech stories out there in the world today. And proud to have you from Chicago. But give people a sense of how big you are, what you've grown to. What kind of metrics do you use to describe that, to kind of capture that?
Sure. So we're in 13,000 restaurants right now in about 300 cities, we're focused on becoming the digital waiter for all of for takeout. That's it.
Well, that's
Actually,
cool.
14,000 as of earlier this week. So
Nice.
moving into quick clip.
I didn't know we were allowed to say that yet.
We crossed the threshold. It's okay.
Well, you guys have done an incredible job. And how many people do you serve? Like in a week or a month? Or how do you measure that?
We served over 300,000 unique individuals last month, in the last 30 days. And as those of you who order pickup and delivery a lot, as we do, you know that you order more than once a month. So we see lots of repeat ordering from a very large volume of individuals all across the country. We're in not only 14,000 restaurants now, but over 300 cities, and that's all the major cities, all the mid-level cities, and actually almost every college market too, because there's a lot of ordering in the long-tail college market. Yeah,
that's cool. And how many people work for Grub Hub today?
It's over 250 now.
Yeah, not quite 300, but is space like this and other incubators are really helpful for startup entrepreneurs. When back in the day. Back in the day,
I mean, this is crazy times.
No, and sitting over there is Mike Saunders, who started a business just like GrubHub in Philadelphia, and we actually acquired his company, and now that's part of the reason GrubHub's so big. But Mike did what we did at the same time frame in Philly, which is even harder than here in Chicago. So it's stuff like this is fantastic. So everyone involved in 1871, thanks so much for helping out the young entrepreneurs.
No, it's huge. It's amazing how. People say, well, how many feet do you need? 5 years? You should think how many times you guys moved in 5 years. We keep doing that. We keep looking at space, and you say to yourself, I got to find subleases because you can't make a commitment like that because you'll outgrow it, and then what do you do?
It's one of those fundamental frictions in the entrepreneurial stories. You just I remember we moved into the 4th floor on Elston, and we actually said to ourselves, we are never going to need this much space. And within the year, we had already got the lease for the 1st floor.
Yeah, the Braintree guys moved out of our building. They were in for a year. They moved out, and we're thinking about taking their space because subleases are good. Yeah. It's so the growth's been incredible. You guys have done a fantastic job. But take us all the way back. 2004, I think you started. Where'd the idea come from? Take us back to that moment in time because it's a great story.
Sure. So the fundamental need we're solving here is Matt and I were hungry. And not metaphorically. We didn't metaphorically want to start a business. We were hungry for business. We actually wanted a pizza. And so we decided that we didn't want the same pizza that we'd had every night when we were working at apartments.com. And so we decided we were going to write a website that would get us all the information we needed for the restaurants that delivered to us. That decision happened, and then 6 months later, finally got the motivation to do it. And then that motivation all sort of came in a bit of a rush. I was taking the 151 bus home, jammed up against the armpit of the guy next to me, decided I was not cooking that night, was just too frustrated. So I wrote that first version of the website that night and pulled the old college all-nighter, and then went in the next day and gave Matt, said the software's there, go start calling some restaurants, get some data. And once you have that data, hopefully we'll be able to like the guide will be worth something. So Matt went and got the data over the next couple of days, and then he went and signed up the first restaurant.
Yeah.
And maybe you should tell the story of signing up that first restaurant.
I think we got to maybe move our mics up a little bit or turn the volume up a little bit there for people.
Sure.
Thanks, guys.
Can you guys hear me in the back?
Can you hear better now? Yep, great,
All
thank
right,
you.
I see some
How about me?
thumbs up. We're scrappy.
Exactly.
That's how we roll.
Exactly, all right.
So, yeah, you guys can grab that. So the first restaurant was called Charming Walk, and it was exactly like Mike said. He built the software. I called a whole bunch of restaurants. I got the delivery boundaries. The initial concept was enter an address and find out all the restaurants that deliver to you because paper menus suck, and we wanted to replace that. And so we actually got a lot of inbound from restaurants saying, hey, this looks interesting. Tell me more about this. How can I get more business? So we didn't start out thinking of ourselves as a transactional website. We thought of ourselves.
This is a very scrappy startup.
No, this
we're
is fine.
doing-
I'm good with this. We thought of ourselves as really a neighborhood guide, really a resource for our neighbors. We didn't do the entire city. We just kind of did Lakeview. We happened to live within a block of each other.
So tell the story, because I think one of the things that, as any entrepreneur knows, your first customer. I mean, you go in for your
Right.
first customer, you're nervous, you're excited. I always joke that I went in and the first guy was bad cop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I've good cop, bad cop. I've heard of that. The second guy came, he's
Literally,
bad cop too.
yeah.
It was bad cop, bad cop. So, and we had to earn our way in there, and there's nothing more important than that first customer. And you guys,
So-
a long time ago. What's
Right.
the story of yours?
So I went in and Charming Walk used to be on the Columbia College campus on the corner of Balbo and Wabash, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Right there. And I'm not sure what it is now because it's since burned down and opened up across the street. But I walked in and I started talking to the guy who was the bartender because little did I know the bartender, I thought, hey, he's going to make some decisions. So I started talking to him. And he was done talking to me, so I ordered a beer. And I kept talking to him. And then about 2 hours later, he finally said, you know what, this GrubHub thing, that's a damn good idea. I'm going to, let's do it. And I said, great. And I pulled out the sign up for him, and I stuck it in front of him. And he's like, no, I can't sign that. My mom has to sign that. And he had to go in the back and get his mom, and she came out, and she barely spoke English. So it was this really awkward conversation around GrubHub. But he finally signed up. And the price, the list price was like $100 a month because we were at flat free pricing at the time. And he signed up for 6 months for $140. And I did it. It was great.
So if you do the math there, it becomes very, very quickly obvious how hard it is to sell to small businesses. And so not knowing that at the time, my partner comes back to work and he's like, $140, here's a check to Grubhub. And I was like, sweet, we should register that name so we can cash the check.
What were you guys doing at the time?
So we were both software engineers at apartments.com. And to be clear, we had the GrubHub.com domain name, but we had not yet had the whatever you need to cash a check. We hadn't figured that part out yet. Whatever. We figured once you get a check, you should figure that out. So at any rate, so then I quit. I gave my notice that
$100?
day. $140.
$140 of revenue.
Don't discount my revenue 40%.
You are not. You're a natural entrepreneur.
Slow down. So I got a Sales for Dummies book, and
I'm sorry, you bought
got a little
Sales
bright.
for Dummies.
It's actually called Selling for Dummies, but yeah, Sales for Dummies sounds better.
And how does it work? Is it good?
So it's got some great advice in there. The first one, and if you guys are jotting down advice, this is the one to take. Ask for the close. You have to ask for the money. If you don't ask for the money, no one gives you the money. So the first one is ask for the close. It sounds trivial, but that's the hardest part of sales. And then the second point that was in there that was really critical was it actually had this little like pro tip, walk in the back door at restaurants, don't go in the front, and you don't have to get by as many people. Now the people you have to get by are more likely to throw you out on your bum, and you end up in the alleyway. But actually we did that. It speaks to the boldness you need just going and signing up restaurants. So I signed up so I got the Sales for Dummies book, went and signed up probably I think 10 to 15 restaurants within the first week. But all we had was this neighborhood guide that there was no online ordering, there was nothing like that. It was just the promise of something big. But you go in, you say, take a chance on me, and you don't sing it, you just say it. And then you ask for the contract, and they a lot of them took a chance. And then what I found was I would be selling features Do you have coupons? Yeah, of course we have coupons. I don't know. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I have to write coupons, right? So it was, I would be selling during the day, and then I would, and then
We
I would
never
code
sold
at
any
night.
feature we didn't have. Just don't ask my software.
No,
engineer.
so the problem with having your engineer and your salesperson the same person is that you do anything to close a sale. Like you just you promise anything, and then as an engineer, I had to make it work.
Yeah, and if you think about that, that's the most wonderful predicament for an entrepreneur to be in, is you're actually selling your product to the customers who are, at this time, funding our business. So we were getting by going to restaurants, and they said, I want coupons. And we said, okay, give me the check. And we went back and we actually fulfilled the promise that we made. And so I feel that entrepreneurs that really go out and start to make money and pre-sell to the customers that they eventually are going to sustain the business long term, those entrepreneurs typically get it right more often than not. Or I'm sorry, more often than entrepreneurs who raise just a pile of cash and then try to figure out something to do with that.